Welcome back everybody, and as you may remember in a previous video, we went and took the headliner out of this car. So now we can move on to the sunroof. This is all part of the weight saving that I'm doing to this car for the track purposes, and this sunroof up here weighs a good 35 pounds. Now there are a few challenges with the sunroof that do have to be addressed, but now that I have the headliner out and those A and B pillars out as well, there's not a lot that has to be done, so it's going to be a relatively simple process. Now running along the sunroof here, I hope you guys can see this alright. There's these 10mm bolts all the way around. This is the front of the sunroof, so that's where the motor is. And there's a bunch of these 10mm running along this part. And then, as you go along, you'll have 10mm running all the way along to the back. And there's nothing along the back section, so it's just on the sides and on the front. The other thing you have to take care of is these. There's rain gutters. With the rain gutters here, you've got one there, one back there, and one back there. Those rain gutters, respectively, with the front ones, they run all the way inside this A pillar, all the way down and spit out behind the wheels, from what I understand. And with the B pillar ones, or C pillar ones, they run all the way along the C pillar and spit out the back behind the rear wheels. Once again, I haven't torn apart the whole system, but that's my understanding of where the water goes. Now that's all beneficial because my big fear was that once I unplug this, I'd have a hole here that led to the outside, probably on top of the roof. So you can just pull these little rubber gaskets off and there's no risk of that leaking in here. This pipe does not have to be capped off like I originally expected. We just want to unplug the motor because it's definitely connected. It's connected to the whole body here, so we want that unplugged. And then if you had the security system, even if you didn't, you're gonna have this wire here that was tucked in. Just move that out of the way and then I'll zip tie that somewhere else later. The only thing you're gonna need for this is a 10mm socket. So I recommend going to the hardware store and picking up a new one since you lost your last one in your last job. Now there's no definitive method into taking these out in what order, at least not that I know of, but I do have a theory on how to best do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start by taking out the front ones. There's one right behind the motor here. So hopefully I'm not too echoey in here, but I'm sure I am because this car is gutted. But with that front row of bolts out, I now only have bolts holding the four corners, and then there's middle bolts on both of them. And then I'm going to remove the back ones, going forward removing the middle ones, and then the front ones, because there's not a lot of weight in this. This is where the sunroof goes, and I do have the sunroof currently there. So there's a lot of weight up there, but not back there. So by taking away the bolts here first, I'm not risking a lot of damage, but if I take away back there, we're going to have a lot of weight sitting, pulling down on these back bolts. Plus, then I'll be able to support it and I'll be close to the front of the car to pull the whole thing out. There you have it. Sunroof is deleted. Nothing there. Now there is some things that I didn't realize when I was taking it out. You've got these clips up here on the front. These went onto some of these wires that ran across the front. So you're going to want to make sure that your wires are pulled out of there before you pull it, because I was pulling on the wires for a second before I realized. I also have all these little washers right here. As you can see, this screw right here that's still in it. It didn't come out of its washer. It has a washer on the side. You've got that one, that's empty, and then that one down there. All had these washers on both sides in them, so I pulled them off because they were just loose so I didn't lose them. It does also appear that I have missed some washers along this front row right here that are also these little plastic washers. Now I know it's not technically part of the sunroof delete, but I'm going to count it in the whole sunroof delete as well, and I'll count it as the last step. You just want to take this strip right here that's glued on to the roof you take that guy out, because we don't need it anymore. It was a sound deadening thing, and it is just gone. So it's just as I expected. It's actually really easy to pull out the sunroof once you have the headliner removed. A few 10mm bolts, a couple plugs you have to undo, remove some wires around the edge, and the whole sunroof comes out. It would have been a lot easier if I had someone else in here with me, because that was 35 pounds that I had to completely support by myself, dropping it down and then feeding it out of the car. A lot easier if you either didn't have the seats or you had them folded all the way down. Kind of considered it, but since it's a lot smaller than the headliner was, I kind of assumed it wouldn't be an issue since I already had done the headliner without taking out the seats. So it was not too bad of a job after all. Anyway guys, I'm gonna put the fill panel in here on a different video. There's some things you do have to do to the panel to make it fit into the car, just like any other piece of carbon fiber, which by the way is what I'm doing. I'm doing a carbon fiber fill panel on this thing to reduce the weight as much as possible. Like always, I'm going to throw up in that top corner over there how much weight was lost from the vehicle. I know the sunroof is about 35-40 pounds, but I'm going to find out for sure how much it weighs. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.